There was one shot actually in the end of it when we saw that teaser, if there is a tree, and it was like,
I was like,
disco. Yeah. G'day guys, I'm yours truly, the original Spike D,
and I'm Gail.
the Pendragon, and welcome to another edition of a Trini reaction to us. Here we feature the best in foreign song, dance, and film out of India.
Southern India.
90% of the time. But today, we're not going to review any song, dance. We're going to review a little movie that we saw a few hours ago.
I'm so excited.
A movie called KGF Chapter 2, baby. Oh yeah, we just came back from the theaters, guys, and we watched the film. So, but before we get into our little review and our thoughts in the movie, we would just like to give the credits to who the credits needs to be directed to. Now, as you know, this film is directed by Prashanth Neel. It is the second installment in the franchise. We were teased that they may have a part 3. We're not sure of that, but we were teased with that. So that's why I'm saying this is the second part in the franchise. It stars the rocking star
Yash.
as Rocky. We have Trini Shetty, who plays Reena, the love interest. We have Sanjay Dutt, who played Adira, and of course Ravina Tandon, who played Ramika Sen, the Prime Minister of India. Alright, so with that said, we just also want you to know that this film has crossed over 1,000 crores.
Wow.
The Hindi version of this film is the second highest Hindi film.
Amazing.
It has passed Dangal. It is a super accomplishment for Southern Indian cinema.
Incredible.
Indian, especially when it comes to the Northern Belt. The only film above it now in the Hindi belt would be Bahubali 2. So, hats off. Alright, so with that said, guys, this is we're just going to share our thoughts. We try our best not to spoil anything, although it might be tricky, but we're going to try our best and we'll warn if we have to, alright? We both looked at part 1 on Eid, which was on Monday gone. So after watching part 1, you got into the stuff.
Fresh in my mind.
Right. So did it, what was your overall feel after seeing 1? Now that you saw 2, did it meet your expectation?
Did part 2 meet my expectations?
Yeah.
Part 2 exceeded my expectations. It was amazing. I enjoyed it so much. Just like part 1, even though it was 3 hours long, you don't feel that time pass. It is gripping from start to finish.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That's correct, guys. So, and I experienced the same thing. I was so hyped for this film, and I was very happy when the distributor brought the film, and that's because the Hindi version does so well that the distributors of the who bring Hindi stuff brought the version to us, and we were so happy that we could have seen it in the theaters. And my experience is I thoroughly loved the movie. It totally lived up to the hype and the expectation of what any fan of Chapter 1 wanted to see. It totally delivered. It was firing in all cylinders.
So good. I wanted to cry. When it was finished,
Yeah.
I was filled with so much emotion.
Yeah. There was one shot actually in the end of it when we saw that teaser, if there is a tree, and it was like,
I was like,
yeah. So guys, so this is our thoughts. We will try to break it down in small parts. So overall, what you thought about the cinematography of the film?
son, I have no words. There was this part, no spoilers or anything, but when Rocky was going to do something, right? Chasing after some people, and they did duck, duck. I was like, yo.
Yes. Yeah. There was this car chase scene. That's what you're referring to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's falling like under action, but the way how it was built up and the wide shots that you saw, there's so much spectacular wide shots in the film. This film felt bigger than the first one.
Yes, it was.
In terms of scale and the grandness of it, right?
Yeah.
It looks so rich. It was it's a spectacle to watch on a big screen. I was blown away so many times with some of the shots.
It really was amazing. They did such a great job, and everything it wasn't scattered. We didn't expect it to be disorganized, but it was just so perfect.
Yeah, that's a great point, right? Because one of the issues I had with part 1 is that, you know, in the beginning of the story when they was given in narration, it was so hard to keep up with.
Which was which?
Yeah, but in this it didn't feel like that. The movie felt more smooth.
Yeah.
The storyline was so easy to follow, and there was parts in the first part of the movie that if you didn't see part one, that like there was a scene. We enjoyed the scene with the kids when they was telling the story, and so like if you were seeing this part without seeing part one, you might still be able to fill in some of the little gaps. And I thought that was a great a way to do the recap of it.
Yeah, it was. It was an excellent way. They made sure, in a sense, that even if you didn't, like, well, part one came out in 2018.
Yeah.
So even if you didn't look at a refresher,
yeah,
here is your refresher.
Yeah, it was, especially if you didn't get a chance to look at part one, like how we were able to look back at part one.
And we went with somebody who did not see part one.
That's right.
Who thoroughly enjoyed it. He really enjoyed that.
I thought he would have probably sleep away in the theater because it's not his forte to watch Indian cinema, but he was like glued to the screen, right? Oh, and by the way, we had the whole theater for ourselves.
Basically.
Yeah, now in order, like, so what you thought about the overall story? Like how you felt in terms of the story, where we left off in one? Because you know where we left off in one, it ended up where Rocky killed Garuda. Right? So what you thought about the transition from that into part two? Did you think that it lacked anything, or did you think that it just went in smoothly?
I don't think it lacks anything at all. They tend to, if they do any time jumps or they go back in time, they would tell you and you would know.
Yeah.
It was easy to follow.
Yeah, I find it was so much easier to follow in this part than the first part. And that's what I really enjoyed about it, because sometimes that was my biggest gripe with part one. But I watched it so much time because I enjoyed the movie so much that I didn't mind going back and rewatching just to get a sense of the characters, because in part one they spoke a lot about characters. They spoke about Adira, but we never saw him, but we saw him here.
Boy, did we see him.
Oh my god.
I feel like I felt him.
yeah. He was an amazing character. In terms of the songs, what do you thought about the songs?
Really good. I like that they don't get carried away. One thing about KGF, part 1 and 2, the backgrounds, music, the soundtrack, perfectly hyped. Listen, it's lacking in nothing.
Yeah, we watched it and I thought that it might have been too loud or whatever, because I know the songs is like hard and banging.
But the scenes are also hard and banging. It fits. It's like you're enjoying what you're seeing, but they add in that music and you're like, yes, my heart is pumping.
Yeah, this music was amazing. And one of the questions I had asked when I had reacted to stuff from part 1 is, would Ravi Basrur be able to meet the music standard of 1? And I thought he met it. I thought he did an exceptional job. This guy is a musical genius. Yeah, I loved it. And you're thoroughly right. The score added to the flavor and to the vibes.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, like ding, 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 ding. You know, it just it give you goosebumps, man.
Yes, for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what about in terms of the cast? What do you thought about the entire cast in terms of the performance? What do you thought about it?
The cast was really good. I did not recognize Ravina Tandon until you told me during the movie that it was her. I think, right now I'm just thinking about Yash, Sanjay Dutt, and Ravina Tandon.
Right.
Powerful performances right through.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you know what? I don't think people give enough recognition to the little boys in part 1 and part 2. These kids are so good.
Yeah, and entertaining as hell, man.
I mean, they're well written, but they pulled off everything that you wanted.
They admire Rocky so much, and they displayed it so well, because there are times they are doing the pose of Rocky, like when you're walking with the hammer.
The children often look for like a role model, and he is a key influential role for them. He is their savior, their God.
That's right, and they show them that respect and that admiration, and even help Rina to understand why they love him so much.
Like, listen, you don't understand. Let me help you understand, and they did it so well.
I thought Yash was like, what's that? She's swag.
Style.
This guy has style.
Oh
swag.
God.
You know,
everything
about Rocky was amazing. Good.
So good.
I love his performance. Sanjay, that was amazing as Adira. that character, right?
Scary.
Yeah, he's a brutal dude.
I was afraid of him.
He's
yeah.
a bit arrogant as well, you know?
Yeah,
Because you know the way how he carried about himself, but that's how there's a scene, right? Without giving too much, you know, we saw a sword. And if people just see the sword and they know that sword is tied to Adira and they get so scared.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of impact that he has upon the lives of these people that were working on the mines in the past. So I love his character. I thought he was strong, he was resilient, and he made Rocky work. There are some scenes in this Rocky really had to work to get ahead of him.
I'm gonna tell you, Rocky made him work too. Huh?
Yes, it really did, yeah. I Ravina as well as I thought she was really
strong female.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
yeah, the Prime
Really great
Minister
job.
when she
She
got
was
into
fierce.
power. Yeah, she
Fierce.
didn't fear Rocky Dread. She went after him with
I
vengeance.
know. I mean, that was so interesting to be. It's like he said in the movie, "You are for the people, by the people, whatever."
Yeah.
She would take the front lines. Then she was not afraid to stand up for what she thought was right and protect her people and protect her country
Yeah.
and everything like that. She
Rocky
was-
actually admired her, you know.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. And he said that.
Yeah.
He's such a stand-up guy. I mean, he's an anti-hero, right?
That's what he is.
But he is still an honorable person.
Yeah, there's a lot of honor in him. And I like when he said, well, you know, he said 40 people, but he could buy the people as well. Because without giving us, I don't want to say what he did to her government. Yeah, but I also like the love interest, Rina. I thought in this part of it, she was vulnerable at times. She didn't easily succumb to the whims
Right.
of Rocky at the
Which
beginning.
is more believable.
Yeah, she did put up a resistance in the beginning of the film, and I really there's some sad part in the film. We don't want to say what it is, but I didn't expect that. Did you expect that in the?
No, not at all. I know in the first part, the first movie, you wanted her to have a little
More
more.
role, yeah.
So definitely she had that this time, and definitely there was some plot twists, some surprises, all so amazing.
Yeah,
I really liked that her character was so believable because she was like the daughter of a Don.
That's
so
right.
she was not easily submissive. And
Yeah.
even if in the somewhere in the first part she said that that's her guy, her person.
yeah. She called him her lover, and I thought that was so not believable. But no, we saw
In this
much more of
part,
her. Yeah,
she was more resilient. What is it that I'm looking for? I don't know. But
she was supportive as well and nurturing at certain scenes in it as the story went along.
It went
But she wasn't
progressively
naive.
well,
She wasn't
yeah.
naive. She wasn't naive. I liked her. I liked her more, and I think the reason for that is because she was with Rocky throughout the film.
Yeah.
So we were able to get more of her. Whereas in the first part, she was really home when the second part totally went to Rocky when into
Right.
El Dorado.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the entire cast did amazing performance, but nobody could be as badass as rockin' star Yash Dread. Yeah, when you think he's a gangster, yeah, there's a monster out there.
That's right.
Yeah, so we really enjoyed the performance as well. So now we're going to go into a charity that may have a bit of spoiler. We try our best not to, but we just want to give the overall feel of the film and just to share some thoughts, right? So watching one, watching two, what is just your view in terms of what you like, or is there anything in this that you didn't like, or something that you missed in this that you didn't think could have been there, or you know what I'm trying to say?
No. Okay. No, there was nothing that I would have changed because everything that happened, it needed to happen for the rest of the film to happen.
Yeah.
And I think I told you like when. Now this is kind of spoiled.
Yeah, you can mention it. So, guys, I just said there are some things we may have to talk about that may spoil.
So if you want no spoilers,
You can leave now.
Yeah.
You can leave now, right? Yeah. Thank you for staying this long. Yeah.
When Sanjay Dutt, Adira let Rocky live.
Yeah.
When Rocky let Adira live, I didn't like that. Well, not I didn't like it, but I'm like, bro, we need to be a little more cautious here. Kill him. But that needed to happen for the rest of the film to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it that much. But at first, I was like, no, Rocky, bye.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that because I totally forgot this. What I thoroughly enjoyed in this, where we didn't get in one, and this is why probably part two really is a better film than part one, is that in this we saw Rocky vulnerable.
Yes.
we saw Rocky vulnerable in two parts of the film that we didn't get in part one. In part one, when we saw him like sad or thing, we saw him like when he was a child and he lost his mother, right? And there were times when he was an adult and he just flashed it back and thinking about it. But in this part, we actually saw him wounded, hurt. You know, we saw him. There's a loss that he suffered in the film. We don't want to say what the loss is. But boy, it broke him, and you could tell that he was.
Yeah.
But it just made him more violent.
I think it was good that the first part didn't have that, because remember the first part was trying to give you, he's like a superhero. Then they built him up like a god.
That's right. Yeah, and they treat him like a god in the movie.
And in this one, even though he is still that god, they show you the human side
of him. Yeah, because Adira did say that he is also flesh.
Yes.
He's flesh and blood, you know, and that's what he did. And also, we can't fail to mention is the person that is narrating the story into is not the same person that was narrating the story in part one. It is really the son of that man is relating the story, and that is played by Prakash Raj. I thought he did well.
And you know what? That was a nice freshness, because it wasn't the exact same thing as part one.
Yeah, and the way they were telling the story in this was totally different.
Yeah.
It was more like it looked like the study of the man where he wrote his books and all that.
It was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I thoroughly thought that. But what I thought the film probably could have a little more that we got in part one. Remember in part one, right? There was a lot of emotion aspect to the film. Like, for example, the bun scene.
Right.
That was a moving scene, and then we got a lot of scenes or back flashes of the mother. In this one, while there were one or two parts of it, we didn't get as much. Not that it bothered me or it take away anything or it downgraded the film in any way. I just thought the film didn't have that much. This version of the movie is more violent than part one in any way. When you go into this, it's going to be bloody and action as hell. I thought the action was outrageous.
It was really good. You see, okay, I understand what you say. For me though, for this part and what this one was about, that's okay, because we got a lot of understanding of why he is where he is, and they established that for me personally in the first part. So now that we have less of those kind of flashbacks in the second part, I thought that was really good. I wanted action, and I got action.
No, the film, as I said, is amazing, and what we did get though, we get emotions of Rocky. I thought he expressed a lot of more emotion in this than in one. You know, in part one, when he went into you could see the struggle about if to help these people or if just to stay on the mission.
In part one, he was trying to establish himself.
Yeah.
In part two, he is established.
Yeah.
So he's basically fighting to keep what he has and keep growing for this final end goal. Yeah. So it's kind of a different dynamic in a sense.
Yeah, but if anybody watched this film or watched one and enjoyed it and watched two and you probably didn't enjoy it much, I don't know, probably the only reason I think you could probably not enjoy this one as much as one is probably a miss the understanding of who Rocky is. Rocky is not a savior. He's an anti-hero.
Yes.
But he have a lot of good qualities in him in that he is gentle to the people in the mind.
He has compassion.
Yes.
Because he understands them. It's not what they say with nepotism.
Yeah.
It's not the rich passing down to make their kids rich. Is somebody working from the dirt, from the ground up.
Yeah.
So he understood them and he showed them the respect that they deserve.
And what Rocky really did, he fulfilled that promise. Remember, there's one scene in part one, right, where the mother held his hand. And I think if people don't enjoy part two because I think it's violent and I think it's just a change of Rocky character, it's because they missed this in part one. She held the hand of Rocky and she said, when you die, you must be dominant, you must be the wealthiest man in the world. And he made that promise to his mother. And there's a scene and a line in the film where he said he doesn't care if he has to be a villain or if he has to be a crook or he has to be all these things to accomplish that. He did all that he did just to honor the oath that he made to his mother, even if it meant going down a dark road, which is somewhat gray in terms because he's a violent killer.
Violence. I don't like it.
Oh, what a line.
I avoid, but violence likes me. I want to avoid.
Oh my god, what a line. There was so much, there was the one or two of those sort of short line, like when he said like nepotism, when he said we could buy the people. He, you know, and there are certain parts of Rocky, right? He could be stern and he'd be making a serious statement. And then after he would just switch and say something comedy.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I strongly recommend if you see one, go and watch two. If you watch two and you didn't enjoy it, go back and watch one. Because you need to understand what one represents, yeah? When you understand who Rocky is in part one, then you won't have no misunderstanding of what you need to expect in part two, because it thoroughly delivered exactly the violence, the fulfilling of the promise, and he did whatever it needed to be done to achieve that.
That's right.
So if you have to give this a rating, what rating you would give? Between between 0 and 10.
10. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10.
Wow. Yeah, she totally enjoyed it. You should see her in the theater. I would give this a solid, I would say a 8.5 or even a 9 out of 10. I would say a 9. Yeah, I would give it a 9 because, as I said, there is one or two things I probably thought maybe a little more emotion here and there, but as I said, it doesn't make the film any weaker or anything. It's a strong film. It's a superb sequel to the first, and it's better than the first part. But I definitely will give this a 9 out of 10, which is awesome.
I give it 10 out of 10. So what's the average there? That's like
9.9. Alright guys, so thank you so much for stopping by today and checking out our review to KGF Chapter 2. We are happy that we were able to see it in the theaters. We saw the Hindi version, thoroughly enjoyed it. Any last words?
Basrur. Hi, love you.
But I love the teaser. I love the teaser in the end. Where they give us, there may be a part 3, we're not sure, but they did tease us with it. And it was great to see that. Amazing movie, guys. Definitely one you should not miss. Alright? So if you do like this video, if you do like this review, like, share, comment, subscribe. Keep coming back for more. I'm your Shuli Spike Day.
I'm Gail.
The Pendragon. Right? You can check out on her YouTube channel. I'll place the link in the description down below. You can send a request, she'll get it done for you as well. So guys, wherever you guys are in the world, as always, stay safe, remain in good health. See you pretty soon with another reaction. Do take care. Have a great day and thanks for stopping by. Peace out.